Next writer, next author is Vanessa Davis Griggs.
Well, good morning to all of you. And the first thing I would like to do is to give you a hand for coming out this morning and being so dedicated. So give yourself a hand, please. I do know that there probably were a lot of people who've been praying because we were hearing the bad weather was coming through. And this morning when I saw the sun come through, I said, you know, I know some people were. Because let me say this to the people who put together this Alabama Bound thing. A lot of times we say people don't come to Alabama or they don't do things. And then when we have something, people don't always support it. So that's one of the reasons why I appreciate you so much, because to have you here, you know, we can write all we want, but if we don't have anybody to read what we're writing, it means nothing. So I thank you to begin with. As he said, my name is Vanessa Davis Griggs. I was born and raised here in Alabama. I came from a small town called Village Springs, Alabama. And I always tell people, if you don't know where Village Springs is, if you've ever heard them on the television talking about how cold it's going to be, and they always say the coldest place, they'll usually say some place called Pinson. So a lot of people probably have heard of Pinson. And if you haven't heard of Pinson, you may have heard of Centerpoint and Terrence. So, you know, that kind of brings you to where I am. I'm very proud to say that I'm from Birmingham, and even though I travel around the country, you have a lot of people sometimes when you say I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. I even had somebody one time to say, oh, I'm sorry. And I'm like, and the truth about it is that I am not. I am so proud to be from Birmingham. I'm proud to represent Birmingham. And I'm also very proud that in most of my books, especially since I started with Blessed Trinity, they are set in Birmingham. So a lot of times when you're reading things, you'll see places that you're familiar with. And I've had people when they're reading, because I am with Kensington Defina, and because you're with maybe a larger publishing house, then they'll think, well, you must be some other author from another place, like Los Angeles or New York. And when they look and they find I'm from Birmingham, they're like real excited. So I'm very proud to be able to represent Birmingham. Now I have, in fact, this year I have a book that's coming out called Practicing What You Preach. And it will be coming out May 26th. And in fact, here is the cover of it. And this will be my 8th book. So I wanted to say that because I'm not a baby anymore. So I started out being self-published. And one of the things whenever I'm talking, it's not sometimes all about us. Sometimes we think it's because I'm trying to promote my work. I'm a type of person where I believe that it's about you. And when I say that, all of you have some dream. And even though I don't write, my books are fiction, and I put a lot of things in there that are set to inspire and encourage you. My goal in my life is to encourage you to follow your dreams and to follow your heart. And so whenever I'm doing what I do, it's mostly because I want you to look at me, and I want you to say, and this is not putting Vanessa Davis Griggs down, but I want you to say, if she can do it, I can do it. And when I say I can do it, you may want to write, and you may have been deterred in some way. I would say, go for your dreams. Maybe you want to be a singer, and now you're 60, and you say, well, maybe it's too late. I always say, as long as you have breath in you, it's never too late to follow your dreams. You may have decided that you wanted to go back to college and get your degree. I'm saying to you, whatever your dreams, whatever your goals are, don't ever give up. Don't ever feel like that because of where you came from. And because maybe you may say, I don't know the right people. I want to say to you to follow your heart and follow your dreams, because you have something inside of you. You have a gift. And a lot of you have stepped out on those gifts. But you have a gift. And what's really funny is somebody is waiting on your gift. And see, what you don't realize is that you're being selfish sometimes when you may say, I really don't want to get out there, put myself out there and be rejected. Because I don't want, you know, it doesn't feel good to be rejected. When you write a book and you send it to an agent or a publisher, you probably will be rejected. And then if they decide to pick you up, some of you today may say, I know she has a book here, but I don't really want to read her book. That's a type of rejection. So sometimes we won't put ourselves out there because we're afraid of being rejected. And I will say to you that that's being selfish. And the reason I say that is because somebody is waiting on your gift. Because I do know one thing for sure. Out of the books that I have out there, it is blessing somebody. And so when you look at it, because I don't want to be rejected, I refuse to put myself out there. What if I had stopped? Think of all the people who are missing out on your gift because you didn't. Now, very quickly, the books that I have that are out most recently, that are with Kensington to Phelan. I had 2 books that were with BET Books. They were called Promises Beyond Jordan and Wings of Grace. So if any of you have read that, I'm the author. Thank you very much. After that, I had a 3-book deal with Kensington, and I had a trilogy which picked up from Wings of Grace, and it was called Blessed Trinity. So Blessed Trinity was the first book in that trilogy. And in fact, when you have Blessed Trinity, it's dealing with some types of mental illness. And some of you may say, well, you know, I really don't want to read anything about mental illness. The thing about my books are, they're not dark. Anytime you read anything I write, you're going to see some light. And I always tell people it's good for you to know some things, because the more you know, the more you can help somebody else. And I've had people to tell me once they read Blessed Trinity that when they thought a person was acting really they're just acting, they found out they really are having mental problems. And they've done things to try to help them. But it's not, like I said, it's not just about mental illness. There's something in there with that. Then I had a book called Strongholds. And Strongholds was a book that I wrote, and it was because God told me. He said, I want you to write a book, and I want you to call it Strongholds. And he said, I don't want you to come at it from a standpoint of sin. I want you to come at it from stronghold. So I have some characters in here. One character is dealing with weight. One character is in an adulterous affair. There's one character who is dealing with gambling. There's somebody who's just overly religious. And I know we probably know some people like that. You know, they're telling you I'm on my way to heaven anyhow, and they want to put you down, but they're missing the whole boat. So I have 8 characters that you're finding out what their strongholds are, and you're watching them as they go. And then I have the 3rd book, which let me say this is the one that they have here today. Should you buy this book, no matter how hard it is, do not turn to the back of the book. I know it will be difficult sometimes, and you'll get right there and you'll say, do not turn to the back of the book. The reason that I say that is I spend a lot of time trying to make your reading experience one that's a wonderful experience. Now, you're going to mess me up if you read and you go, okay, I'm good now, or I'm not good now. So please allow me to do what I'm here to do. I want to make your reading experience wonderful. Allow me to do that, and don't cheat. Don't turn to the back of the book. So like I said, that's the one that's here today. And let me say this. If you have not read any of my books, you are still welcome to buy if memory serves, because all of my books stand on their own. And what I've heard from people is, some people pick this book up from the beginning. This is the only book they've ever read of mine. And thankfully, once they read it, they want to go back and read everything that I've written. So I love the library, because Wings of Grace is a book that's hard to find, and you can come to the library and still check out Wings of Grace. So I'm going to read just a very short, because I wanted you to kind of have a little laugh. My books are Christian fiction. They're categorized as Christian fiction. I tell people I don't like to say Christian fiction necessarily, because I tell people I'm just a Christian who writes fiction. And just whatever's in me is what's come out. So, you know, that's what I'm dealing with. I'm not necessarily trying to preach to you. I'm just Christian fiction. But anyway, I'm going to sit down because I think I just got the thing that said time. But thank you all for coming. We hope you have a great day.